My chosen one, pause for a moment, because April 22nd is not an ordinary date, and this is not an ordinary message. You almost scrolled past it. You almost ignored it like the others. And that is exactly why Archangel Michael has stepped forward now. Listen carefully. April 22nd carries a spiritual shift that you have already felt in your spirit. The restlessness, the strange dreams, the repeated numbers, the unexpected delays, the sudden silence from certain people. These were not random. They were signs. And Archangel Michael says you have already missed several important signals that heaven was placing directly in your path. But this is the one that finally makes everything clear. For weeks, you have sensed that something is changing around your house. The atmosphere feels different. The energy shifts at certain hours. Conversations don't flow the same. There has been tension you cannot explain. And you told yourself, maybe I'm overthinking. You were not overthinking. Archangel Michael stands as a protector over your dwelling, and he says the spiritual climate around your home has been under observation. April 22nd is a revealing moment. It is a line drawn in the spiritual realm. What was hidden will begin to surface. What was unclear will become show. What felt confusing will suddenly make sense. You see, the signs were subtle. The first sign came through delay. Plans that should have moved forward stalled. Documents took longer than usual. Messages were misunderstood. That was not coincidence. That was divine friction. Heaven slowing you down to prevent you from stepping into something misaligned. The second sign came through exposure. Small truths slipped out in conversations. People revealed pieces of themselves when they thought you were not paying attention. You noticed, but you brushed it off. Archangel Michael says those fragments were previews of a bigger unveiling. And the third sign came through your own intuition. You felt uneasy about someone. You sensed a hidden motive. Yet you chose peace over confrontation. You chose silence over discernment. But your spirit was correct. April 22nd is not about fear. It is about clarity. Archangel Michael does not come to create chaos. He comes with a sword of truth, not to harm, but to separate illusion from reality. There is something about your current living situation that requires discernment. It could be about a relationship inside the house. It can be about an agreement connected to the property. It could be about a financial decision that involves your space. Whatever it is, you have felt the weight of it. You may have dismissed your dreams recently, but Archangel Michael says your subconscious hath been receiving warnings. Repeated themes. Familiar faces. Doors opening and closing. These were messages layered in symbolism. And here is the shocking truth. If you ignore this moment again, the cycle repeats. That is why this message feels urgent. April 22nd acts like a spiritual spotlight. Something that has been operating quietly in the background will not remain hidden. A conversation will shift. An unexpected detail will emerge. A truth will connect dots you have been struggling to understand. And when it happens, you will remember this message. You will say, "Now I see it." Archangel Michael says the confusion was never meant to trap you. It was meant to train your discernment. Every missed sign sharpened your spiritual awareness. Every uncomfortable moment prepared you for this revelation. But you must not close your eyes now. There is a reason you felt guided to click on this video. There is a reason the title caught your attention. In a sea of distractions, this message surfaced for you specifically. That is not algorithm. That is alignment. The house you are living in represents more than walls and furniture. It represents your current season of life. Stability. identity, security. And when heaven speaks about your house, it is speaking about your foundation. Is your foundation aligned with truth? Is everyone within your circle standing in honesty? Is every agreement built on clarity? Archangel Michael says April 22nd is a checkpoint, a divine inspection, not to accuse you, but to protect you. You have already been shielded from something bigger that you never saw. Conversations happened behind your back that dissolved before reaching you. Opportunities that looked perfect were quietly removed because they carried hidden complications. That was protection in action. Now comes revelation. And revelation always feels intense before it feels peaceful. Do not panic if emotions rise. Do not react impulsively. When clarity comes, stand firm. Observe. Listen. Discern. Archangel Michael stands at the threshold of your dwelling as a guardian. His presence is not dramatic. It is steady, focused, precise. He says this time, you will not miss the sign. You are entering a moment where patterns break, where illusions lose power, where truth steps forward without disguise. But here is the key: you must be willing to accept what is revealed. Sometimes clarity means adjusting relationships. Sometimes it means renegotiating agreements. Sometimes it means changing your environment. And sometimes it simply means opening your eyes and trusting your instincts. April 22nd is closer than you think. The spiritual atmosphere is already shifting. You may feel it in subtle ways. A heightened awareness, a deeper reflection, a sudden desire to reorganize your space. That is not random. That is preparation. Archangel Michael is aligning pieces behind the scenes. And what felt scattered will soon feel intentional. This is the message you were not supposed to scroll past. This is the confirmation you were waiting for. And as you move forward, keep your spirit alert. Because what unfolds next will connect every dot you have been questioning. Beloved soul, what I am about to reveal now will settle something that has been restless inside you for months. April 22nd is not only about exposure. It is about positioning. Archangel Michael says the reason you missed the earlier signs was not weakness. It was timing. You were not ready to see the full picture. But now you are. There is a pattern that has been repeating inside your home environment. A cycle of tension, silence, then temporary peace. A rhythm that feels predictable yet unresolved. You may have convinced yourself that this is just how things are. But Archangel Michael is clear. Cycles that repeat without resolution are signals. And heaven does not repeat warnings without purpose. You have felt moments where something almost surfaced. A conversation nearly revealed the truth. An argument almost uncovered the deeper issue. But each time it was brushed aside. Distracted. Delayed. Redirected. That delay was not accidental. It was resistance meeting revelation. April 22nd interrupts that cycle. There is someone connected to your living space whose behavior has subtle inconsistencies. Words that don't fully align with actions. Promises that stretch thin. Explanations that feel rehearsed. You noticed these things, but you chose harmony over confrontation. Archangel Michael says your desire for peace is beautiful, but peace built on avoidance cannot stand. This is not about accusing anyone. It is about alignment. Your house is meant to be a sanctuary, a place of clarity, not confusion. Yet recently, you have felt a quiet drain of energy. You walk into certain rooms and feel heaviness. You sit in silence and sense unspoken thoughts lingering in the air. These are spiritual indicators. Atmosphere reflects truth. Archangel Michael stands as guardian not only of you, but of the spiritual climate around you. And he says April 22nd acts like a spiritual audit. What had been operating beneath the surface will gently rise. Notice I said gently. This will not explode like chaos. It will unfold like realization. A sentence will land differently. A detail will click. A memory will resurface with new meaning. And suddenly, you will see the thread connecting everything. You have been asking, why does this feel off? You have been praying quietly, show me what I am not seeing. This is the answer to that prayer. But there is something else you must understand. Revelation requires maturity. When clarity comes, you must respond with wisdom, not emotion. Archangel Michael urges you to remain calm, observant, steady. Do not rush to speak. Do not rush to accuse. Let truth reveal itself fully. There is power in silence when silence is intentional. At the same time, do not shrink back again. This is not the moment to minimize your intuition. Your discernment has been sharpening through every missed sign. Each small inconsistency trained your awareness. Each uncomfortable moment strengthened your perception. April 22nd is the culmination of that training. Something will become undeniable. And when it does, you will realize that heaven was preparing you all along. Now hear this clearly. This message is not only about exposure of others. It is also about exposure within you. There are areas where you have tolerated less than you deserve. Areas where you settled because change felt inconvenient. Archangel Michael says clarity will shine both outward and inward. You will see others more clearly, and you will see yourself more honestly. This is growth, and growth is rarely comfortable at first. But do not fear what is coming. You are protected. The same presence that warns you also shields you. Archangel Michael's energy around your dwelling is steady, watchful, unwavering. Nothing will unfold outside of divine oversight. If this message is resonating deeply, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs spiritual clarity, and comment what you have been sensing lately. When you engage, you strengthen the reach of messages like this so others who are missing signs can finally see them. Subscribe to this channel and become part of this growing spiritual community. And if your spirit feels called, join the membership to go deeper into these revelations. Your support amplifies this mission more than you realize. Because what is about to unfold next will connect directly to why April 22nd was marked long before you noticed it. And trust me, the next layer of this message is where everything shifts. You will want to hear how this date ties to a decision you thought was small, but was never small at all. Faithful one, now we step into the layer that changes everything. April 22nd is not just a date of exposure. It is a date of decision. Archangel Michael says there was a moment in the past few months when you made a choice that seemed small, almost insignificant. But in the spiritual realm, that decision created a ripple. You may not even remember it clearly. It could have been agreeing to let someone stay longer than planned. It could have been signing something quickly without deep reflection. It could have been choosing silence instead of asking one more question. At the time, it felt easier, simpler, less dramatic. But heaven recorded it. And since that moment, subtle shifts began unfolding inside your home. You might have noticed changes in routine, a different tone in conversations, an invisible tension that comes and goes. Archangel Michael reveals that April 22nd connects directly back to that earlier decision. What seemed small was actually a turning point. This is not to create regret. This is to create awareness. Because awareness restores power. When you understand where the shift began, you regain control over where it ends. Archangel Michael says you were not wrong, you were compassionate. You were hopeful. You believed the best. But now you are being called to balance compassion with discernment. There is someone whose intentions were not fully aligned with yours. Not necessarily malicious, but not transparent either. Partial truths. Selective honesty. Information shared in fragments instead of fullness. And you sensed it, yet you gave the benefit of the doubt. April 22nd is when the missing pieces align. A conversation may surface unexpectedly. A document may reveal overlooked details. A statement may contradict something previously said. When that happens, do not doubt your perception. This is the clarity you asked for. Archangel Michael stands at the threshold of your understanding, holding a sword that symbolizes truth. Latagrahan. Not conflict. Truth. And truth brings freedom. But here is the deeper revelation. This moment is not only about correcting your environment. It is about elevating your standard. You have outgrown certain dynamics. You have matured beyond tolerating half-clarity. You have stepped into a new spiritual frequency where alignment matters more than convenience. April 22nd marks that upgrade. The house you are living in represents more than structure. It reflects your internal boundaries. If confusion has been allowed inside, it mirrors an area where your boundaries soften. That is not failure. That is growth in progress. Archangel Michael says after this revelation, you will not operate the same way again. You will ask clearer questions. You will observe patterns more carefully. You will trust your intuition sooner. This is spiritual strengthening. And do not be surprised if, after April 22nd, certain energies naturally distance themselves from you. When clarity rises, anything built on confusion cannot remain comfortable. Some people thrive in transparency. Others retreat from it. Let them choose. Your responsibility is alignment, not control. You may feel a mixture of emotions when realization fully lands. Relief, disappointment, validation, even sadness. Allow yourself to process without reacting impulsively. Archangel Michael encourages patience in the immediate aftermath of clarity. Observe before responding. Understand before speaking. Because the response you choose will shape the next chapter of your household. There is also a financial undertone connected to this message. Something about shared responsibility, contribution, or obligation may surface. Numbers may need reviewing. Agreements may need redefining. Do not avoid these conversations. Face them calmly, confidently, firmly. You are supported. And here is something powerful. Heaven delayed this revelation until you were emotionally ready. Had it come earlier, you might have reacted from hurt. And now you will respond from wisdom. That is growth. April 22nd is not destruction. It is alignment. It is the clearing of fog. It is the unlocking of understanding that hath been hovering just beyond reach. If this message is speaking directly to your spirit, this is your confirmation moment. Type "I receive clear vision" in the comments if this is aligning with what you have been sensing. Lesson code 444 is now activated over your home. Let that number be a reminder that protection, stability, and divine order are being restored. And as this clarity unfolds, remember this mission is larger than one household. Messages like this are reaching souls across nations who are also standing at their own April 22nd moment. When you sow into this work through super thanks, membership, or PayPal donation using the link in the description, you are not supporting a channel. You are helping light enter homes that are filled with confusion. The word declares, As you sow, so shall you reap. And this is not theory. It is living promise spoken over you. When you release your seed, you release light. When you give, you open rivers over your own dwelling. I am inviting you now, not casually, but prophetically. If this message unlocked something in you, act. Become a vessel that carries clarity to others. Let your offering be oil that keeps this lamp burning. Heaven sees generosity as obedience, not charity. And those who respond in faith will feel the shift in their own atmosphere. Do not hesitate. Step into alignment and give as you are led today. Precious soul, now that clarity has been activated, the next phase is preparation. Archangel Michael says revelation without preparation can feel overwhelming, but revelation with preparation becomes empowerment. April 22nd is not only exposing what was hidden, it is positioning you for a shift that has been delayed for your protection. There is a rearrangement happening in your spiritual atmosphere. You may already feel the urge to clean, to organize, to move things around inside your house. This is not random motivation. When clarity approaches, your spirit naturally seeks order. Physical movement often mirrors spiritual adjustment. Archangel Michael reveals that even small actions you take in your environment right now are symbolic. You are making space for truth. Something that once felt permanent is about to feel temporary. For a while, you believed you had to endure a certain dynamic because it was tied to your stability. You told yourself that keeping everything as it was meant security. But security built on incomplete understanding is fragile. True stability comes from transparency. April 22nd shifts that foundation. There is also a deeper layer to this message that touches your identity. The confusion in your house has subtly affected your confidence. You question your instincts. You second-guessed your reactions. You wondered if you were being too sensitive or too observant. Archangel Michael says your perception was never the problem. Suppressing it was. And that suppression ends now. When the truth becomes clear, you will feel your confidence returning. Not loudly, not aggressively, but steadily. You will stand differently, speak differently. Even your silence will feel stronger. That is what alignment does. Be attentive to conversations in the days surrounding April 22nd. Words will carry weight. Pay attention not only to what is said, but to what is avoided. Notice tone. Notice timing. Notice contradictions. You do not need to search for problems. Clarity will present itself without force. This is divine timing. You were protected from premature confrontation because you were still emotionally invested in preserving what felt familiar. But now, something inside you has shifted. You are ready to see without attachment. And that changes everything. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that truth does not always remove people immediately. Sometimes it simply redefines roles. Someone who once had deep access may now have limited influence. Someone whose words once shaped your mood may no longer carry that power. Boundaries will form naturally after revelation. There may also be a surprising ally who emerges. Someone you did not expect to support you may suddenly speak up or validate your perspective. Do not ignore that. Divine protection often works through unexpected voices. At the same time, be mindful of reacting from wounded pride. If you discover that you overlooked something obvious, do not shame yourself. Growth includes blind spots. What matters is that you are no longer blind. April 22nd carries a subtle but powerful energy of awakening. You might experience vivid dreams right before this date. You might wake up with sudden insight. You might remember past conversations with new understanding. This is your subconscious aligning with revelation. Archangel Michael often communicates through patterns, repetition, and inner nudges rather than dramatic signs. Do not look for fireworks. Look for clarity. Another important layer. There is a decision tied to your living arrangement that you will soon reconsider. It may involve extending something, renewing something, or committing further. Do not finalize anything until clarity has fully surfaced. What seems convenient now may feel misaligned once truth settles in. Patience in this window is wisdom. You are not being asked to disrupt your life. You are being asked to refine it. The difference is significant. Disruption is chaotic. Refinement is intentional. And what is happening around you is refinement. Archangel Michael stands as a stabilizing force, ensuring that whatever is revealed does not destroy but strengthens. Think of this as reinforcement of your spiritual foundation. Weak beams are being identified so stronger ones can replace them. You may feel moments of solitude during this phase. That is not isolation. That is recalibration. Sometimes clarity requires quiet space to integrate fully. And as you integrate, your intuition will sharpen even more. After April 22nd, you will not ignore subtle inconsistencies again. You will trust your discernment earlier. You will protect your environment more intentionally. This is elevation. What once confused you will now instruct you. And what once intimidated you will no longer hold that power. Stay grounded. Stay observant. Stay steady. Because the next layer of this unfolding will reveal why this entire process was necessary, not only to correct your present, but to prepare you for an opportunity that cannot coexist with confusion. You are closer to that opportunity than you think. Steady heart. Now we approach the reason this revelation could not be delayed any longer. Archangel Michael says what is unfolding around April 22nd is directly connected to an incoming opportunity that requires a clean foundation. And that opportunity cannot enter a space clouded by hidden tension or half-truths. For months, something has been preparing to knock on your door. A new path. A shift in responsibility. A financial opening. A relocation possibility. Or even a partnership that carries long-term impact. But heaven will not layer new blessings on unstable ground. That is why clarity comes first. You may have wondered why progress felt slow recently, why certain doors remained closed despite your effort, why responses were delayed, why approvals stalled. It was not rejection. It was timing. Archangel Michael reveals that divine protection paused certain movements because your environment needed alignment before expansion. Expansion without alignment creates pressure. Alignment before expansion creates stability. April 22nd is the dividing line between those two realities. There is something about your current living situation that subtly limits your growth. It may not be obvious. It may not even be dramatic. But energetically, it has kept you in a holding pattern. You adapted to it. You worked around it. You told yourself you could function within it. But you were not meant to merely function. You were meant to flourish. Archangel Michael says the upcoming opportunity requires confidence, clarity, and strong boundaries. And those qualities strengthen when confusion is removed. That is why exposure is not punishment. It is preparation. Be mindful in the days following April 22nd. An idea may surface unexpectedly. A conversation about future plans may arise. Someone may mention a possibility that catches your attention. Do not dismiss it quickly. The shift you have been waiting for may come disguised as a simple suggestion. You are entering a season where small openings lead to significant transitions. At the same time, be cautious of emotional reactions that attempt to hold you back. When clarity reveals misalignment, there may be attempts to restore the old comfort. Promises may suddenly improve. Behavior may temporarily shift. Words may become sweeter. Discern the pattern, not the performance. Archangel Michael warns that temporary adjustments are not the same as genuine transformation. Give yourself time to observe consistency. True alignment sustains itself without pressure. There is also a financial element tied to this breakthrough. A burden you have quietly carried may soon be lifted. An imbalance may be corrected. But that correction begins with acknowledging where the imbalance exists. Avoidance kept things smooth on the surface. Truth will make them fair beneath it. And fairness brings peace. You have been more patient than you realize. You have endured uncertainty with grace. But patience should not become passive acceptance. April 22nd marks the end of passive acceptance. From this point forward, you will operate with intentional awareness. Another significant shift is happening within your spiritual confidence. Archangel Michael says you are stepping into a season where your intuition will guide you with unusual precision. You will sense authenticity quickly. You will detect inconsistency almost immediately. And you will not second-guess yourself the way you once did. This sharpening is not accidental. It is the result of every missed sign that trained you. Think about how different you feel now compared to a few months ago. There is more reflection, more depth, more caution. That growth prepared you for this moment. And here is something powerful. Once clarity settles, you will feel lighter. The heaviness that lingered in certain rooms of your house will shift. The tension you could not name will dissolve. Even your sleep may improve. Because confusion consumes energy. Truth restores it. Archangel Michael's presence around your dwelling is not only protective, it is transformative. He does not merely guard against external forces. He strengthens internal foundations. What felt unstable will stabilize. What felt uncertain will clarify. But remember this: clarity sometimes requires action. You may need to initiate a conversation you have avoided. You may need to review an agreement carefully. You may need to set a boundary clearly and calmly. Do not fear these steps. They are not confrontational when delivered with steadiness. They are necessary. The opportunity approaching you cannot coexist with hesitation. It requires courage rooted in understanding. And that understanding is being handed to you now. April 22nd is not an ending. It is a reset point. And after this reset, momentum begins to build in a way you have not experienced in a long time. Stay attentive. Stay grounded. Because what unfolds next will test whether you truly embrace the clarity you have been given, or whether you retreat back into comfort. Awakened one, now we arrive at the moment where your response becomes more important than the revelation itself. Archangel Michael says April 22nd is the spark, but what you choose afterward determines the fire. Clarity is powerful, but courage is transformative. There will be a window immediately after realization settles in. In that window, you will feel two opposing pulls. One will urge you to return to comfort, to smooth things over, to pretend nothing has shifted. The other will gently push you toward alignment, even if alignment requires change. That tension is not weakness. It is growth stretching you. For a long time, you have prioritized stability over authenticity. You told yourself that as long as things were manageable, they were acceptable. But manageable is not the same as healthy. Archangel Michael reveals that you are no longer in a season where survival is enough. You are stepping into a season of refinement and elevation. And elevation demands honesty. There may be a conversation that feels inevitable. It might not happen dramatically. It may unfold quietly at a table, in a hallway, or during an ordinary exchange. But beneath the surface, it will carry weight. Words will be measured. Tone will matter. And your composure will determine the outcome. Stay steady. Do not rush to prove your point. Do not speak from accumulated frustration. Speak from clarity. Here is a difference. Frustration seeks release. Clarity seeks resolution. Archangel Michael emphasizes that this is not about winning. It is about realigning. If someone responds defensively, remain calm. If someone tries to redirect blame, remain observant. Truth does not need aggression to stand firm. You may also notice that once you shift internally, external dynamics begin adjusting automatically. Energy responds to certainty. When you stop tolerating confusion, confusion loses influence. This is a spiritual law. Another important detail: do not underestimate subtle confirmations after April 22nd. You may overhear something that validates your instincts. You may receive unexpected information that fills in missing pieces. These confirmations are not coincidences. They are reinforcement. Heaven does not reveal without confirming. There is also a possibility that this clarity leads you to restructure your living arrangement in some way. It may not happen immediately, but the thought will begin forming. A different space, a different agreement, a different environment. Do not fear that idea. Sometimes the simplest shift in environment unlocks enormous progress. Archangel Michael says your peace is valuable, more valuable than convenience, more valuable than familiarity. Protect it accordingly. As this message resonates, take a moment to engage with this community. Like this video if it is speaking to your current season. Share it with someone who has been sensing unspoken tension in their own home. Comment what signs you have been noticing lately. Your voice matters here. Subscribe if you have not already, because these messages are part of a larger spiritual unfolding. And if you feel called to go deeper, join the membership and stand with this mission. When you participate, you amplify clarity not only for yourself but for countless others. Because what is about to unfold next will reveal why this entire process was necessary for something much bigger than a household shift. And you will want to witness how this connects to a door that once closed on you unexpectedly. Here is something profound. There was a past opportunity you thought you lost permanently. A door that shut without explanation. You felt disappointed, maybe even rejected. But Archangel Michael reveals that door closed because your environment was not aligned at the time. If that opportunity had opened then, instability would have followed you into it. Now, alignment is being restored. And when that door reappears, perhaps in a different form, you will be ready. Pay attention to recurring themes from your past. Old contacts resurfacing. Familiar ideas reappearing. A skill you once set aside suddenly becoming relevant again. These are not random returns. They are signals of preparation. You are not just clearing confusion. You are repositioning for restoration. But restoration requires maturity. It requires that you do not carry old patterns into new spaces. April 22nd marks the closing of one internal chapter and the strengthening of another. Stand firm in your discernment. Stand calm in your communication. Stand confident in your decisions. Because the next revelation will show you exactly how close you are to reclaiming something you once thought was gone for good. And when you see how precisely this timing has been arranged, you will understand why none of the earlier signs were accidents. Courageous spirit, now you must understand why that past door closed so suddenly. Archangel Michael says what felt like rejection back then was actually redirection. You were standing at the edge of something significant, but the foundation beneath you was not steady enough to support it. So heaven intervened quietly. At the time, you questioned yourself. You wondered what you did wrong. You replayed conversations. You analyzed decisions. You even blamed your own hesitation. But the truth is this: instability in your personal environment would have followed you into that opportunity and fractured it from within. April 22nd is not only about exposure in your house. It is about clearing the residue of that old disappointment. You carried that closed door inside you longer than you realized. It shaped how you approached new possibilities. It made you cautious. It made you reserved. In some ways, it made you smaller. You stopped expecting too much because you did not want to feel that letdown again. Archangel Michael reveals that the disappointment was never meant to shrink you. It was meant to refine you. Now that clarity is restoring order in your current space, something extraordinary begins to align. The same type of opportunity, or something closely related, will circle back. But this time, you will not approach it from insecurity. You will approach it from awareness. There is a difference between desire and readiness. Back then, you had desire. Now, you have readiness. That readiness was built through every uncomfortable moment you endured, through every subtle tension in your house, through every sign you almost missed. You have grown sharper, steadier, more discerning. And that growth changes outcomes. Pay attention to invitations that seem familiar. They may not look identical to the past, but they will carry a recognizable energy. A project that resembles something you once wanted. A conversation that echoes an old dream. A financial opening tied to a skill you almost abandoned. Do not dismiss it out of fear. Archangel Michael says this return is not coincidence. It is restoration under better conditions. But here is the critical part. If you carry unresolved confusion from your current environment into this returning opportunity, the cycle could repeat. That is why April 22nd had to come first. Alignment precedes restoration. There may be moments when doubt tries to resurface. You may think, what if this falls apart again? That voice is memory, not prophecy. Do not let old outcomes dictate new possibilities. Your spiritual posture has changed. You are no longer tolerating vague agreements. You are no longer ignoring subtle discomfort. You are no longer silencing intuition for the sake of peace. That shift alone alters your future. Archangel Michael stands not only as protector of your dwelling but as guardian of your forward movement. He ensures that what returns to you does so under divine timing, not emotional impulse. There is also a lesson about self-worth embedded in this unfolding story. When that door first closed, part of you internalized it as personal inadequacy. You questioned your value. You wondered if you were overlooked or underestimated. But hear this clearly. What is delayed is not always denied, and what is redirected is not always rejected. Sometimes it is reserved. Reserved for when your environment matches your destiny. Reserved for when your boundaries are strong. Reserved for when your confidence is stable. April 22nd is the final clearing before that reservation is honored. In the coming days, you may feel a renewed sense of ambition. A spark you thought had faded may ignite again. Ideas will feel clear. Goals will feel possible again. This is not random motivation. It is restoration awakening. Do not suppress that spark. Nurture it. At the same time, remain observant within your house. The way people respond to your renewed clarity will reveal their alignment with your future. Those who celebrate your growth are aligned. Those who feel threatened by it may not be. This is not about judgment. It is about awareness. Archangel Michael encourages you to move with calm confidence. You do not need to announce your plans loudly. Let your stability speak for you. Let your consistency demonstrate change. Because very soon, you will see a tangible sign that confirms everything you have sensed in this message. A conversation, an email, an unexpected contact. Something that connects past disappointment with present alignment. When it happens, you will understand why April 22nd was necessary. You will see that nothing was wasted. Not the missed signs. Not the tension. Not the closed door. All of it was preparation. And what comes next will test whether you truly believe you are ready to receive what once slipped away from your hands. Chosen vessel. The moment of convergence is closer than you realize. Archangel Michael says what has been circling in the spiritual realm is now descending into the physical. April 22nd with the clearing. What follows is the confirmation. Here will be a sign that feels undeniable. Not loud, not dramatic, but precise. It may arrive as a message you did not expect. A name appearing again after silence. An opportunity reintroduced in a slightly different form. Or a realization that connects the past closed door with your present stability. When it appears, something inside you will go still instead of anxious. That stillness is alignment. Before, you reacted from urgency. And now, you will respond from certainty. This is the shift Archangel Michael had been preparing you for. There is also a deeper internal convergence happening. The version of you who felt disappointed months ago is merging with a wiser version of you who stands now. You are not the same person who faced that closed door. Your discernment has sharpened. Your boundaries have strengthened. Your spiritual posture has matured. And because of that, the outcome will be different. You may notice that the same type of conversation that once intimidated you now feels manageable. The same kind of negotiation that once felt overwhelming now feels clear. The same opportunity that once felt out of reach now feels within grasp. This is not luck. This is readiness meeting timing. Archangel Michael reveals that heaven does not waste preparation. Every uncomfortable realization inside your home refined your judgment. Every subtle exposure strengthened your awareness. You were being trained quietly. Now you are being positioned publicly. But listen carefully. When this confirmation arrives, do not rush to secure it out of fear of losing it again. Desperation distorts clarity. You do not need to cling to what is divinely aligned. What is meant for you will remain steady when approached with calm confidence. There may also be a test hidden within the confirmation. A small detail that requires you to uphold your new boundaries. Perhaps clearer terms. Perhaps a further agreement. Perhaps a direct question that once you would have avoided asking. This is where growth proves itself. Do not shrink in that moment. Speak clearly. Ask wisely. Stand steadily. Archangel Michael stands behind your words when they are rooted in truth. There is also a symbolic layer to this convergence. Your house represented confusion being cleared. The returning opportunity represents purpose being restored. When environment and purpose aligned, acceleration follows. Do not be surprised if progress begins moving quickly after this point. Things that were stagnant may gain momentum. Conversations may advance. Decisions may solidify. What once felt delayed may suddenly unfold with speed. That acceleration is not chaos. It is alignment finally flowing without obstruction. Yet remain grounded. Rapid movement requires stable footing. Continue observing your environment. Continue honoring your intuition. Continue maintaining boundaries. The clarity you received was not temporary guidance. It was permanent elevation. If this message resonates deeply within you, type "I step into restoration" in the comments right now. Blessing code 818 is being released over your path. Let that number remind you that what returns to you now does so under divine order and strengthened foundations. And as restoration begins unfolding in your life, understand that this message is reaching thousands who are standing at similar crossroads. When you sow into this mission through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal donation through the link in the description, you are helping clarity reach homes trapped in confusion. The word declares that when you pour water on others, you yourself will be refreshed. This is not a transaction. It is a spiritual exchange. As you release your seed, you activate harvest over your own dwelling. I am speaking directly to the one who feels the stirring to act. Do not delay obedience. Become a pillar that sustains this light. Let your generosity be oil that fuels revelation for souls who almost scrolled past their breakthrough. Heaven records every willing act, and those who respond in faith will see restoration echo back into their own lives. Step forward now and give as an act of alignment. What unfolds next will show you why the restoration coming toward you carries influence beyond your personal gain. It is connected to impact greater than you expected. Anointed listener, restoration is never given for comfort alone. Archangel Michael says, what is returning to you carries responsibility. The door reopening is not simply about reclaiming what was lost. It is about stewarding it differently this time. When the confirmation settles in your hands, you will feel excitement. But beneath that excitement, there must be discipline. Because what once slipped away cannot be handled with the same mindset that existed before. This is where maturity proves itself. The opportunity reconnecting with you has influence attached to it. It may expand your visibility. It may increase your income. It may widen your circle. It may even shift your location or daily structure. But influence magnifies whatever foundation it rests on. That is why your house had to be cleared first. Archangel Michael reveals that unresolved confusion would have followed you into this next level and quietly undermined it. But now, your awareness is sharper. Your boundaries are clearer. Your discernment is active. There will be people watching how you handle this return. Some will celebrate you sincerely. Others will observe quietly. A few may question whether you truly deserve another chance at what once closed. Do not internalize those silent doubts. Your journey was not about deserving. It was about preparing. And preparation has already happened. Be mindful of pride during this phase. When something returns after disappointment, there is a temptation to prove yourself loudly. But strength does not need display. Let consistency speak. Let steadiness confirm your growth. Archangel Michael encourages humility paired with confidence. You do not need to boast. You do not need to defend. You simply need to remain aligned. There is also a practical layer unfolding. You may be required to reorganize your time. Adjust your priorities. Release distractions. The same habits that were manageable before may now feel limiting. That discomfort is a sign of elevation. Growth stretches capacity. If certain relationships feel strained by your progress, observe without resentment. Not everyone can walk at the pace you are about to move. But do not slow down to remain comfortable for others. You have already done that once. It's time you move forward. April 22nd, clear delusion. Now momentum builds around purpose. Expect clarity not only in opportunities but also in decisions. You will find it easier to say no where necessary. You will recognize red flags faster. You will sense alignment quickly. That precision is the reward of awareness. But listen carefully. There may be a final subtle test. A familiar distraction might attempt to re-enter your focus. Something that once consumed your energy may present itself attractively again. It will seem harmless, convenient, even flattering. Discern it carefully. Archangel Michael warns that not every returning element is restoration. Some are repetition. Restoration brings peace. Repetition brings tension disguised as familiarity. Trust the difference. As your influence expands, your environment must remain protected. Continue guarding your household atmosphere. Continue honoring clarity. Continue communicating directly. You are not the same person who tolerated confusion silently. You are not the same person who second-guessed intuition. You are not the same person who interpreted delay as rejection. You are steadier now, and steadiness attracts stability. Another important revelation. The impact of this returning opportunity may extend beyond finances or career. It may reconnect you to purpose. Something inside you that felt dormant will awaken. A sense of calling, a deeper confidence, a renewed vision. This is bigger than success. It is alignment with who you were meant to become. Archangel Michael stands watch as this unfolding continues, ensuring that acceleration does not outrun wisdom. Stay prayerful. Stay reflective. Stay grounded. The next development will reveal how your restoration influences others around you. Because when one foundation strengthens, it often stabilizes more than one household. Your breakthrough is not isolated. It carries ripple effects. And very soon, you will see evidence that what was once a private struggle is becoming a public testimony of precision timing and divine protection. Steadfast soul, what is happening now is no longer just about you. Archangel Michael says the restoration unfolding in your life carries influence that will touch others in ways you cannot yet fully see. When one foundation is strengthened, it quietly reinforces surrounding structures. Your breakthrough is becoming a signal. There are people observing your journey who have been silently navigating confusion in their own homes. They watched how you handled tension. They noticed your patience. They saw your restraint when you could have reacted impulsively. And now they are watching how you handle restoration. Your composure is instructive. When clarity transformed your environment, you did not collapse into chaos. When opportunity returned, you did not rush recklessly. That steadiness is becoming an example, even if no one openly says it. Archangel Michael reveals that leadership often begins privately before it becomes visible. You may not carry a title. You may not stand on a public stage. But influence flows through conduct. And your conduct during this season is shaping perception. There will be a moment soon when someone approaches you for advice. It may feel casual. A simple question. A quiet confession about tension they are facing. But beneath it is recognition. They sense that you navigated something successfully. Do not underestimate that moment. What you learn through missed signs, delayed clarity, and restored opportunity is wisdom earned through experience. Share it calmly. Speak honestly. Do not exaggerate your struggle, and do not minimize your growth. Your story carries weight. At the same time, remain cautious not to let external validation inflate your ego. The same humility that preserved you through confusion must guide you through influence. Archangel Michael emphasizes that elevation is sustained by grounded character. There may also be an expansion in responsibility connected to the returning opportunity. More visibility, more expectation, more trust placed in your hands. This is confirmation that restoration is not random. It is intentional. You were refined for this. But refinement does not end. It continues. Be attentive to your internal alignment. Success can introduce new distractions. Praise can blur focus. Increased movement can reduce reflection. Guard against that. Protect your quiet time. Protect your discernment. If this message has been guiding you clearly through this unfolding season, take a moment now to engage. Like this video so this revelation can reach others who are standing at their own turning point. Share it with someone who needs clarity in their home and courage in their decisions. Comment what restoration has begun surfacing in your life. Subscribe if you have not already, because these messages are part of a greater spiritual alignment that continues to unfold. And if your spirit feels stirred to go deeper, join the membership and stand with this mission. Your participation strengthens the reach of these words more than you realize. Because what unfolds next will test not your stability, but your generosity. Yes, generosity. Archangel Michael reveals that restoration often creates an opportunity to become a channel, not just a recipient. When something returns to you stronger than before, there comes a moment to ask, will you hoard the blessing, or will you extend it? This extension may not always be financial. It may be mentorship. It may be encouragement. It may be creating space for someone else to grow. But the principle remains the same. Blessings that flow continue flowing. Blessings that stagnate lose momentum. There will soon be a situation where you have the capacity to help someone in a way you once needed help. The timing will feel deliberate, almost symbolic. When that moment comes, respond generously. Not to impress, not to gain recognition, but because you understand what it felt like to stand in uncertainty. Archangel Michael says this act of generosity will solidify your new season. It will anchor your restoration into legacy. Influence rooted in compassion multiplies. Influence rooted only in achievement fades. You are being shaped into something greater than personal success. And very soon, a final confirmation will arrive that ties everything together. The missed signs, the exposure, the returning opportunity, and the ripple effect now forming around you. When you see that final confirmation, you will know without doubt that April 22nd was a pivot point that changed the trajectory of your path. Faithful warrior, you are now standing at the edge of the final confirmation. Archangel Michael says everything that has unfolded since April 22nd has been building toward one unmistakable moment. The moment when you see the full pattern. It will not feel chaotic. It will feel precise. There will be a realization, perhaps subtle at first, where you step back and recognize how perfectly timed each event has been. The missed signs were lessons. The exposure was alignment. The closed door was protection. The returning opportunity was restoration. And the influence now forming around you is purpose expanding. When this awareness settles in, something shifts permanently inside you. You will no longer interpret delay as denial. You will no longer interpret silence as abandonment. You will no longer interpret redirection as rejection. Archangel Michael reveals that this transformation of perception is the true breakthrough. There is likely to be one specific event that seals this understanding. It may be a conversation where someone unknowingly confirms what you once suspected. It may be a financial result that validates your patience. It may be an unexpected acknowledgement from someone connected to that original closed door. Whatever form it takes, it will feel like a signature at the bottom of a contract you did not know heaven was drafting. And in that moment, you will realize something profound. Nothing was random. You were being positioned. Even the tension inside your home served a purpose. It exposed weak foundations that could not support where you are now heading. It forced you to sharpen discernment. It strengthened your voice. It redefined your boundaries. Without the discomfort, you would have entered restoration unchanged. And unchanged habits would have produced repeated outcomes. But you are not unchanged. You are steadier. You are clear. You are more intentional. Archangel Michael stands as witness to this internal shift. He guarded your dwelling when confusion tried to distort your peace. He restrained certain movements when you were not yet ready. He allowed exposure only when you had matured enough to handle it without collapsing. Now comes the confirmation that seals it all. You may notice that the atmosphere inside your home feels different. Conversations feel lighter. Energy feels cleaner. Or perhaps certain individuals have naturally repositioned themselves without force. That is not coincidence. That is alignment settling into place. Pay attention also to your internal atmosphere. Anxiety that once lingered may be absent. Doubt that once whispered may be silent. Confidence may feel grounded rather than fragile. This is evidence. The final confirmation may also involve timing that feels almost impossible to orchestrate. Events aligning back to back. Information arriving exactly when needed. Resources appearing just as a decision must be made. Archangel Michael says when divine timing moves, it moves with precision that logic cannot fully explain. Do not overanalyze it. Receive it. There is also a quiet warning embedded here. As clarity becomes obvious, resist the urge to revisit old confusion for validation. You do not need to reopen resolved tension to prove you were right. Growth does not require replaying past mistakes. Move forward. You may even feel gratitude toward the discomfort that once frustrated you. That gratitude is maturity. It means you see beyond emotion into purpose. And when this realization anchors fully, you will recognize that April 22nd was not a threat. It was an invitation. An invitation to see clearly, to act courageously, to receive restoration wisely. The ripple effect now extends beyond your immediate circle. The stability you carry will influence decisions in spaces you step into. Your steadiness will calm rooms you enter. Your discernment will prevent complications before they form. This is leadership without announcement. This is influence without striving. Archangel Michael reveals that the final confirmation is not about applause. It is about peace. A deep, unshakable peace that tells you everything unfolded exactly as it needed to. And once that peace settles, you will understand that what seemed like a warning at the beginning was actually protection in motion. You are no longer the person who almost scrolled past the sign. You are the person who recognized it, received it, and responded. The next and final revelation will not introduce something new. It will crown what has already been built and release a blessing that seals this entire season over your life. Victorious one. This is the sealing of the season. Archangel Michael says what began as a warning has now become a witness. You almost scrolled past the message, but instead, you stepped into alignment. And because you responded, the trajectory of your path shifted. April 22nd was never meant to frighten you. It was meant to awaken you. You have now seen the pattern in full. The missed signs were not failures. They were training. The tension inside your home was not punishment, it was preparation. The closed door was not rejection, it was redirection. The returning opportunity was not luck, it was restoration under better conditions. And the final confirmation you experienced was not coincidence. It was divine precision. Archangel Michael stands as guardian over thresholds. He guards doors that must close. He guards doors that must reopen. And most importantly, he guards the heart of the one walking through them. You were shielded from outcomes that would have overwhelmed you months ago. You were refined quietly so that when restoration arrived, you would not mishandle it. Now look at you. Your atmosphere has changed. The heaviness that once lingered in your space has lifted. Conversations feel clearer. Your thoughts feel steadier. Even your posture carries quiet confidence. That is what alignment does. It restores peace where confusion once occupied space. But this final message is not only about what happened. It is about who you have become. You no longer ignore subtle discomfort. You no longer silence intuition to maintain surface peace. You no longer interpret delay as abandonment. You have matured into discernment. And because of that maturity, the next season of your life will not resemble the last. You will move differently. Decide differently. Trust differently. Your standards have elevated. Your boundaries are firm without being harsh. Your generosity flows without being naive. This is growth sealed. Archangel Michael reveals that the blessing now resting over your dwelling is stability. Not temporary calm, but sustainable order. What you build from this point forward will be constructed on clarity. What you accept will be filtered through wisdom. What you release will be done without fear. The spiritual audit is complete, and heaven has marked your household as aligned. If this message has spoken directly to your spirit from the very beginning, type "My house is aligned" in the comments right now. Blessing code 2222 is now activated over your home and your future. Let that number remind you that divine order, balance, and protection surround you from this day forward. Now hear this final instruction carefully. The clarity that reached you today is not meant to stop with you. There are souls right now standing at their own April 22nd moment, confused, restless, sensing signs but unsure what they mean. When you sow into this mission through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal donation using the link in the description, you are not funding content. You are igniting revelation in households on the edge of breakthrough. The Lord declares, "Give, and it shall be given unto you," not as suggestion, but as living covenant. As you release your seed, you open a river that flows back into your own dwelling. I speak to the one who feels the nudge even now. This is your moment to act in alignment. Do not let hesitation steal obedience. Let your giving be a prophetic declaration that clarity will multiply across nations. Every seed sown becomes light in someone else's darkness. And as you step forward in faith, heaven records your obedience and responds with increase. Move now. Give boldly. Seal this season with action.